We also have several markets. We have a fish market, a meat market, a regular market.
Is it named regular market? Please let it be named regular
Default market.
It is not.
Hey there. Welcome to Tabletop Travel Guide, the podcast where we explore fictional worlds and civilizations right from the comfort of our own tables. I'm Tyler, and this week in a campaign, I'm trying to think what happened.
Well, you GM'd for one.
I did.
I'm Sam. I can talk about what I did in
Sure.
Tyler's campaign where he GM'd this week. After being so rudely wrecked in combat the week before, I got to help solve a fun puzzle to figure out our next steps. So that was great.
Yeah, they are on basically in like a mountain area, and they just dealt with a monastery to try to like get some more understanding of how to summon a celestial dragon.
Ooh.
So that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Ryan. I did not play Pathfinder this past week, but I did finish my playthrough of the machine. And so I'll be handing that journal off to the next.
Who's doing
lucky Ian's going to take it next.
Okay. Oh, Ian's a good choice.
I know. So Ian will do really well. So I'll hand it off to him hopefully this week.
Yeah.
Nice.
And he'll blow my writing out of the water, I'm assuming.
It's fine. Nice. So today we are doing something different but similar. So we are starting our first in a series of tabletop city guides. Cities. But before we dive in, we always got to talk about the deity draft. And it is going to be the last time we update. I guess the second to last time we update. But last week, Rovagug was marked safe. And that's the last update before today.
Before it all kicks off.
When this all gets revealed of which deity dies.
It's going to be so great.
So from the patron rankings, Rod has a perfect score the whole time.
How could you lie to us and tell us that you don't work at Paizo?
Yeah, so
Rude.
Before the deity has been marked, Rod has 27 points.
Good Lord.
And second place is Badinga.
Badinga. Cool.
With 21 points.
So this is technically a chance, right?
No, because
No,
we're doing 5
5.
points
Oh,
for
5,
the winning
okay,
deity.
so yeah.
So Rod has it.
Well, congrats, Rod.
Yeah, it'll be just real awkward if you didn't actually pick the right one otherwise. So yeah, we'll see. Today, when this episode is dropping, we're recording a few days earlier, but when this episode drops and if you're listening on release day, it should be at like 3, I think. Like 3, it might be Pacific time. I don't know. But yeah, they're going to be talking about the live stream and what deity dies. And
okay, so Tyler, where are we at?
we all have 3 deities left. So we did
Okay.
it felt pretty good about like distribution.
Sure.
I have 21 points. Sam has 20 and a half points.
Ha!
Ryan has 16 and a half points.
Dang it. Well,
So-
wait, hold on. 16.
Yeah. So if Ryan
So
gets it,
theoretically-
you'll
So
be
I
at
have to-
21 and a half.
Yeah.
With the guides, it's whoever has the deity who's dead wins the draft.
It's kind of fun. Okay.
Yeah, that
It
is
is
kind of
fun.
cool. So yeah, this has been fantastic.
I'll be a complete nerd and probably pull up that live stream at work.
Yeah. I'm going to be at a track meet. Maybe
So it's like 2, 3 p.m.
yeah, it's like 3 p.m. If it's Pacific time, then it's
Oh,
like freaking...
Pacific time.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't know. It might be Pacific. I didn't check what.
Okay.
Time
Yeah,
zone.
I'll be home then. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be at a track meet. So I'll just be like, excuse me.
Very
Who's up
important
next for
content.
pole vault? Sorry. Busy. Yeah, but this has been great. This has been fun. We'll see. I don't really think we picked a guide prize. I don't know, just bragging rights.
Probably.
Unless Gozra gets
I
off
want
and then
Gozra
Sadie
to
will win.
so bad.
I heard a really good theory about why Gozra might be, but
I hope it's our dog
yeah.
that is the winner.
It would just go to show how bad we are at picking things if we had the chance to pick 18 of 19 and we just missed the one that
Yep.
got... Anyway. So, like I said, we're going to be doing Tabletop City Guide today.
Mhm.
So, while we've been doing countries and diving into, kind of high level stuff, for a while we've wanted to do something kind of like city specific.
A little more intimate.
And yeah, one of our patrons, I think Brandon, emailed us about it and was asking specifically about Sandpoint. So we decided, hey, what a good time to dive into Sandpoint with the upcoming adventure path that's happening.
Is this
Stop
Sandpoint?
it.
Sorry.
You're teasing my whole intro.
Sorry, teasing the whole intro.
Is this Sandpoint with Sam?
Sandpoint with Sam.
It is.
Let's
Sam
do it.
brings you Sandpoint. Okay, so as Tyler so rudely tried to usurp me, why are we here looking at Sandpoint? And, in case you don't know, Sandpoint appeared in Pathfinder's first adventure path, Rise of the Runelords, in the very first chapter. And now, Pathfinder has just released its 200th adventure path, and it returns to Sandpoint in 7 Dooms for Sandpoint. So, first full circle moment, we are coming back around. So, it's very apropos that we are going to check in on Sandpoint, see what all of the fuss is about, and maybe learn some fun things about it.
I also think it's just cool that, like, this is the town that started it all, because Pathfinder, or Paizo, started as an adventure path writing for Dungeons and Dragons 3.5.
Sure.
So like this was back before Pathfinder was a thing.
Right. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell me more, because I don't know anything about Sandpoint, Sam.
All right, so Sandpoint is in Varissia, which we visited a decent amount of countries back.
Yes.
But if you'll remember, Varissia is that large chunk of land that is north of Cheliax.
Mm-hmm.
So Sandpoint is in the Lost Coast area of Varissia. It's about 50 miles north of Magnamar. And if you'll remember, we talked about Magnamar when we talked about the Varissia episode. That is the town with like the angel things going on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Where like they're pretty chill with everybody. They're like, come hang out with us.
Yeah.
We're pretty cool. So the Lost Coast area doesn't really have a whole lot by way of civilizations. This is going to be that area north of Magnamar. It's mostly dotted with campsites and well-placed roadside inns.
Oh, okay.
So if you have to travel up it, you at least have somewhere to sleep.
Okay.
It's called the Lost Coast because it's vast. It feels pretty isolated from the rest of civilization. Sandpoint is really the only like major town in this area.
Huh.
Okay.
So how did Sandpoint come to be? So we know that this is a vast area with not a lot going on. How did we get here? So we're going to go way, way back. The Lost Coast was originally known as the Rasp.
The Rasp.
Millennia ago.
Dang.
Oh.
Because of how the topography looked then. It was less of a coast and more of a string of rocky bluffs and cliffs that ran through a moor. So we didn't have
What's a moor?
Like a marshy, wet type of land. Like you talk about like moors of Scotland, they're like misty and they're like kind of soggy ground.
Fair.
Swamp. I mean,
swamp.
swamps.
It's not really swamp because it's not warm.
Yeah.
So like
Cold swamp.
Or what do they call it? Fjord? Kind of like a fjord, maybe a little bit?
No, a fjord is a big... I'm trying to think, how do you describe a fjord? A fjord is like 2 big cliffs and water in between.
Oh, okay.
So cold swamp.
Stop it. The important part here is it was land.
Sure.
Okay.
So it was originally a string of rocky cliffs through land.
Sure.
Cool.
The Rasp had a bad reputation for being haunted by demons and supernatural baddies because in the age before mortals, Lamashtu and the demon lord Pazuzu hung out here.
Pazuzu.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
No,
but
that seems perfect.
I feel like Pazuzu's like just like a pet name, like Lamashtu. It's like, what a Pazuzu.
apparently he was a bad demon lord dude, though.
Cute name. Bad reputation.
I'm bringing all my boys. Pazuzu, Lamashtu. You don't know nothing.
The book sites that they like created some type of demon spawn thing, and I wasn't sure if that meant like they got together romantically and created an offspring, or if like they were like, cool, here's my cauldron and bad stuff comes out of it.
Sure.
Unclear. But anyway, they were up to some weird stuff
Cool.
in this area. When the first King Zin, if we all remember, I'm going to ask you all to recall knowledge real quick. Who is the King of Zin or King Zin?
king of OG Thassalon.
Yes,
Yeah.
original Thassalon.
I think it was Sin. It's pronounced Sin.
King Sin.
King
Sure.
Sin.
Okay.
Yes.
Because we wanted to be very meta with the...
Okay. Fair. When he arrived in this land and claimed it for Thassalon, he was not holding on to any of these superstitions about the area. He just thought the Rasp was a good natural border for nations.
Which is fair.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So it ended up dividing the nations of Shalast and Bakrahan. Which- Bakrahan?
Yeah, sure.
Which were two of the Thessalonian nations. So the Rasp just becomes a natural dividing point.
Okay.
After Sin is assassinated and the Rune Lords take over, Shalast and Bakrahan have more conflict, and the Rasp becomes a really important border in between the two of them.
Okay.
On the Shalast side, the Rune Lord Karzaug creates giant structures to stand as sentinels along his side of the border. The cool thing about it is he can be back in his capital city, but he can look through the sentinels' eyes
Ooh.
Cool. Okay.
to prevent any like surprise attacks on his side of the border. On the other side, in Bakrahan, the Rune Lord Elasnist. Anyway, she, I think it's a she. Is Elasnist a she?
I thought so.
Been a
I
while.
think so. I realized I did not put any pronouns in this when I wrote it, so
Yes, you're right.
yeah, okay. She erects destructive watchtowers called Hellstorm Flumes.
I mean, great
Cool.
naming. That's cool.
I just want you to imagine like the Eye of Sauron just blasting anybody that approaches with like arcane fire.
That's sweet.
That's pretty cool.
It's that kind of visual where like she's just like flame throwing.
You got an Eye of Sauron? I got 2.
Nice.
Yeah,
So
so
this is
she has a few of them along the border.
I'm getting like 38th parallel vibes, like dead zone in the middle.
Yeah, I mean the border is like the cliffs. They're not like, I can't imagine this is like a huge swath of land
Sure.
in between, but they end up kind of in a stalemate because you've got like, cool, I can see whatever you do on one side and I will wreck you with fire on the other side.
Yeah.
So they just kind of stay in conflict with these giant structures on the border.
Huh.
They continue this way until Thassalon falls. And then when Earthfall hits, the nation of Bakrahan collapses and falls into the sea.
Wow.
Oops.
Yeah.
Which this is not the first time we've had an entire chunk of Golarion collapse, but
But fall into the sea.
yeah,
like,
but it's still bad.
infrastructure was rough. Erosion gets you, man.
Erosion.
So this ends up creating what's now known as the Varisian Gulf
Oh.
Okay.
and the
Yeah.
coastline.
Okay.
So now
Okay.
the Rasp has become a coast.
Sure.
Yeah, so I knew, because I knew they had the bay in Varisia, and I didn't realize that was used to be a place.
Used to be land.
Huh.
Yeah. So over time, so the sentinels and the watchtowers, because they were built on the Rasp, didn't fall into the sea
Yeah.
with that situation, but they do over time start to decay and fall into ruin.
Yeah.
Only one of the watchtowers remains somewhat intact, but even then it's not nearly what its original height
Mhm.
was. We're kind of cut off at the knees a little bit here.
Sure.
Legends about it raining down fire have shifted, and through the game of telephone that is history, current inhabitants of the area think that it's an ancient lighthouse due to its placement on the coast of the sea.
Technically correct.
That's awesome.
The
Yeah.
best kind of correct.
Yeah, it does technically used to create light.
A lighthouse of death.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So not quite, but that is still there. If you'll recall, Magnamar was settled by colonists from Corvosa,
Uh-huh.
Yes.
who were not satisfied with the Chelish nature of things in Corvosa. After they settle Magnamar, people start realizing they need more farmland to support the territory. They find a nice area 50 miles north that is protected by a sandbar and has a curious stone ruin.
See,
Heyo.
if there's ever an apocalypse, like this is going to happen a ton, right? Like, ooh, there's this wonderful building with small smokestack looking things we can hide inside of. Oops, nuclear power plant. Or like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, though. So,
Yeah.
like, I mean, time passed and that what it actually was is lost to history. So people just think it's an ancient lighthouse and they're like, cool, there's some farmland around it. Like, this seems fine.
I can live here, whatever.
Hey, why not? The foundation of the town, the founding of the town that is known as Sandpoint is brought about by the investment of 4 families from Magnamar who formed the Sandpoint Mercantile League.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. In 4666, they sail north to claim the land, only to find out it's already occupied by some local Varisians.
We've never let that stop us, though. So.
Never.
When in doubt, I wanted this land, and dang it, I'm going to kick everybody out who's already there.
Yeah, so initially they attempt to go into negotiations for the land.
Okay.
But after a week, this takes a turn.
Oh, no.
One particularly impatient dude from the Scarnetti family, which is one of the 4.
The Scarnettis.
Riding back with his Italian accents.
He launches a murderous raid on the Varisians' camp.
Okay.
However, his family is a bit overconfident and maybe a little bit drunk in this endeavor. They only kill 5 people and end up getting run off and leaving a few of their own behind.
I mean, from a adventure standpoint, 5 people is like a Tuesday.
They're not very
Rampage it is not in Golarion.
So the entire Sandpoint Mercantile League then has to flee back to Magnamar.
Oh, okay.
Because of this, and face the consequences of their actions.
So do they get run off by the Varisians, or did they like, oh crap, we need to bail?
The book doesn't explain it like in detail. So what I would like to imagine happens is you have the Scarnettis and they go attack this camp.
Guys, I got a great idea.
Which then starts to go poorly. The Varisians are attacking back and like coming out, and then the other Mercantile League families are like, oh no, this has suddenly shifted, and probably realize, oh, we aren't negotiating. Now this is hostile. We should probably leave.
Sure.
Yeah.
They lost control. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was maybe less of like, because I'm not sure how many people both sides had at the point.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was like suddenly, oh, there's hundreds of people here and we thought there were only 20, or if it was more, we have now reached a point where we cannot be successful in this endeavor. Well, we should probably go back.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So when they all get there, Magnamar's Varisian Council demands punishment for all 4 families.
Oh, come on. I mean,
They're like, y'all suck. Blood punishment. Here we go.
Ooh. It's the guy from River Kingdoms.
A little bit.
Punishing everybody related to you.
Yes. However, a bard from the Deverin family, which is not the Scarnettis, so one of the ones who was not involved with murder, manages to arbitrate a peace with the High Council. She also salvages the plans for Sandpoint by promising to build a cathedral to Desna in the town.
Okay.
And she also will agree to pay Magnamar a generous portion of the profits from the town for the next 40 years.
Well, there it is.
If they'll be supportive.
We'll build a statue, also give you a lot of money. Please don't hurt us.
Yeah, like, I'll definitely build a church. I mean, that's really nice and all, but I'll also pay you 50% of my profits. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Now we're talking.
So the book also doesn't say this, but I'm imagining that the Scarnettis still received some kind of punishment for attacking the camp, but that the other 3 families who were not involved were then not punished for someone else's actions.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Because my thought would be that the bard is probably not arguing like no one should get any type of punishment for this. I feel like she was probably like, can we not punish the people who were not actively trying to murder people?
Sure. The
That's
Scarnettis
fair.
got sent to Nightall.
Ooh. Oh. Punishment worse than death? ?
Well, slight spoiler, their descendants are still around in this town, so they weren't completely run off.
Freaking Scarnettis.
All right, so then 1 year later, so they get through these negotiations.
Sure.
A year later, the Sandpoint Mercantile League, probably minus the Scarnettis, begins construction of buildings in the area that will become Sandpoint with the full support of the local Varisians.
Okay.
So they're able to work out some sort of plan. Presumably, it just took a little bit longer than a week to do it.
Yeah.
And since then, up to present day, the town has grown and flourished. Today, Sandpoint draws people of industry, people of skill from Corvosa to Riddleport, and the Thessalonian ruins bring in a lot of lore-seeking tourists.
Oh,
The
okay.
history. Come look at the Thessalonians.
Okay. So they figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
And there's no like hauntings or anything left?
Ryan, spoilers.
Oh, okay.
We're not there yet.
I promise I wasn't looking further.
So let's talk about what Sandpoint is today. So we have all the history, how we got here. So in general, if you're approaching Sandpoint, there's lots of farmland. There are lots of fishing vessels in the Gulf. As travelers approach the town, they are met by the Devil's Platter, which are rocky limestone outcrops and forested hills that rise up from the south and east of town.
That sounds
in this context, a platter is a geographic feature?
Is it like plateau? I'm now just imagining it as like, this is the food challenge at the local inn. Can you finish the devil's platter?
I'll say if I Google platter, it's like food, you idiot. It's food.
I am not 100% sure what this looks like. What I imagined in my head was, if you've ever been a server or a waitress, how you hold a tray, your hand isn't flat on the bottom. The fingers are what touches the tray to hold it up. That's how you have balance. So what I imagined was like the rocky outcrops that are coming up are more like the fingers that are holding up the platter.
That makes sense.
And then like the town is the platter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
That definitely sounds, yeah.
If that was a visual that everyone could understand.
The devil's platter.
I don't know.
200 chicken tenders.
I like a chicken tender. Anyway, there's a bridge into town from the south, because you have to kind of go across a little bit of water from the south to get into town. And then from the north side, they have a stone wall that offers protection from northern things, and there's a gate there that you can get into.
Okay, yeah.
Nice.
For the most part, the town is made of wooden buildings with stone foundations. There's shingle roofs. Most things are single story. The town is broken into 2 districts. We have Uptown, which is like the northern district of Sandpoint. It's newer, the streets are wider, it's less crowded. It's also at a higher elevation, so it looks down onto downtown.
Ooh.
I know.
I'm sensing some things.
Look out at the plebs.
And then downtown is where most of the major buildings are and where you probably spend most of your time adventuring. I personally like that Uptown is actually up.
That is helpful, yes.
Because I'm like, how many cities have a downtown but not an up? And I'm like, why do we call it downtown when there's no thing? Whatever, it's fine.
Oh my gosh, why do we call it downtown?
It's because we all adopted it from towns that actually have up and down.
I don't know. I feel
is
like
that the real reason?
I don't know.
That's really interesting. Actually,
I feel like I call a lot of places like the suburbs uptown place. I'll be like, oh, we can go downtown, or go to Uptown City or Uptown other city, but I'm like, I don't know if that
I guess there
counts.
is an Uptown near us though.
Yeah.
Well, so if you think about like New York City, there's Uptown, there's Midtown, and there's Downtown for New York City.
Okay.
But that's like from a north-south perspective.
Yeah.
It's just like funny for places that don't have necessarily.
We live on the north side of the downtown, so what do you call south side of downtown? Farther downtown?
Farther.
Bunker Town?
Bunker.
Real downtown.
This is basement town.
Yeah. So anyway, downtown is where we're probably going to spend most of our time. So what I really liked, so when I was writing this, I was reading through Sandpoint, Light of the Lost Coast, which is a campaign setting.
Sure.
What I really loved about it is when you read the book, there's tons of different locations that you can go to in this town. There's probably like 50. Each different location has a different quest associated with it.
Ooh.
And they're all different levels. So you can essentially like kind of pick and choose and do different things around town. Some of them are combat, some of them are investigation. It's just a lot of different things. So I pulled out some of the locations that I thought were interesting. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of information just on some of the main locations, but then we're going to play a little game after that.
Ooh.
So we'll do some of the bigger things that you might see. So the place I want to start is the Sandpoint Cathedral.
Nice.
So this is the town's newest structure. It was built over the original chapel, and that was that original chapel that was promised by the bard to Desna. Within the cathedral are chapels to 6 deities that are worshipped in the area. So in here, we actually have 6 smaller chapels to Abadar, Desna, Erastil, Gozra, Sarenrae, and Shaylin.
Okay.
Man, what if they have to change one after today?
Awkward. Within the cathedral is an open-air courtyard with a set of 7 standing stones. Anyone alive today considers these stones as an ancient worship site to Desna. However, their true history is tied up with the Thessalonians.
Dun, dun, dun.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah. And then if we traverse through town a little bit more, we come to the Terendarock Academy, which is a school and an orphanage.
Sure.
Double duty, it's fine.
It's run by a retired adventurer. The headmaster agreed to run the academy if he could have the basement for his own uses. So the basement of the academy is essentially a museum of all the things he collected in his adventuring days.
I mean,
That ended way less weird than I expected to. He could use the basement for his own uses. It's a museum.
The area is locked, but the children who live at the academy and attend classes have all sorts of stories of what's down there. Some say it's a goblin farm. Some say it's a spider's nest.
oh yeah.
Some
Yeah.
say the Sandpoint devil lives down
I mean,
there.
Yeah, that's like rife for kids to be like, oh, I bet you won't go down there.
It's like just like a storage closet. They're like, the Sandpoint devil.
So in reality, it's not actually anything that crazy. The headmaster will happily show off his collection of weapons, maps, and monster trophies to anyone who will ask nicely, but he also does nothing to refute the children's tales.
Well, yeah, because the goblin farm's below what he's showing, obviously.
Also, that's
Yeah.
fun as heck to just like mess with people. Be like,
oh yeah.
what do you got down there? Don't worry about it. Goblin farm? Who could say?
Also, so this is the guy who originally established it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Or yeah.
So if you establish a school / orphanage, you get to call yourself headmaster.
I think he was asked if he would run it, and then he
Okay.
was appointed as headmaster.
Oh, that makes more sense.
and he
Okay.
said, "Yes, I will run it, but also can I have the
But
basement?"
also, can I have the basement?
I
Okay.
also just
Okay.
really like the idea of we should do this more often as we like complete campaigns. We kind of did it with yours, but it's like what happens after the fact? It's like this is a retired adventurer, so like there's a very real chance that you like, oh, we go to Sandpoint and you see this place and it's like, wait, is that my old character? Like, huh, yeah, he's just chilling, vibing
Just
with a
scattered
museum
around.
in a
Just chilling out.
orphanage now.
The next location that we are going to go to is Chopper's Isle.
Cool.
Okay.
This is located to the north of Old Light, which is what everybody thinks is the old lighthouse that is actually the old
Oh, okay.
Hellfire Watchtower, Eye of
Yeah, yeah.
Sauron. Anyway, so this is an isle to the north of this. This location is connected to a bloody history.
Oh.
Ooh.
Originally, the isle was home to Jervis Stute, a wood carver, who liked to carve the likeness of birds into wooden structures around town.
Okay, starting very wholesome
Okay.
so far.
Okay.
The isle was reported to be a haven for birds, so Stute moved there. And because it was difficult to get to, local carpenters even built him a set of stairs up the cliff so he could go to and from more easily.
Okay. Yeah.
And then, in 4702, a series of murders started to occur in Sandpoint.
Oh no.
They
Oh,
were
no.
stranger than the usual deaths. Bodies were found with deep cuts to the neck and torso, hands and feet severed, and eyes and tongue taken.
Okay.
This earned the killer the title of the Chopper.
It's a good name.
Get to the
It's
chopper.
a good name.
The sheriff at the time ends up tracking down the Chopper, and they have a fight in an alley that kills the sheriff and gravely wounds the Chopper.
Okay.
Okay.
The town guard follows the blood trail to Stute's home,
No.
Oh, no.
Snap.
Stute, no.
Stu.
and they discover Stute dead before a demon altar with all of the eyes and the tongues of the previous victims.
Stute, how could you betray
Stute.
me like
It
this?
was him all along!
Stute.
But the birds.
So now, the isle is known as Chopper's Isle. It's very creepy, and people don't really go here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
It's always the most wholesome people that turn out to be the gruesome murderers. I don't know if
Is
that's
it?
I don't think so.
Is it? Is that how it works?
Shh.
And then, we work our way back toward town. We pass the Old Light, which is the structure that history says was a lighthouse, rises up from a 120-foot high cliff.
Oh.
And only about 50 feet of the structure is left above ground. There are rumors that more may lay beneath.
Mm.
Of course.
So those are the highlight locations. And now for our fun game.
Uh-oh.
So in the campaign setting, each location that they list for you comes with a rumor and a quest. So a rumor that people know about the building, and then a quest that you could embark on.
I like it.
So I'm going to give you guys some places. You each get to pick one, and I will tell you the rumor associated with the building.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to read through a few.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So notable places that we might visit in town. We have 2 inns. We have the White Deer and the Rusty Dragon.
Sure.
Moving through town, we have a cartographer entitled The Way North. We have a jewelry store, Rings and Things.
That's a good name.
That's a good name.
You can visit the town dump, which is called Junker's Edge.
Okay.
We obviously have, staples like the Sandpoint Garrison, the Sandpoint Town Hall. We also have Sava's Armory for your weapon and armor needs.
Mm-hmm.
We have quite a few taverns in town. You could get a drink at Rissa's Place,
Okay.
the Hagfish, Fat Man's Feed Bag.
I just think it's the Parks and Rec place, Colonel Plumps.
It is.
I mean,
Paunch Burger.
That's one of those places you're like, we got to eat at Fat Man's Feed Bag. Like, it might be terrible, but we got to go eat there.
We have the Red Dog Smithy. That is the blacksmith.
Okay.
We have the Pillbug's Pantry, an alchemy shop. We have the House of Bluestones, which is a monastery and library, and I really just laughed when I saw it because I just thought of the House of Blues,
Yeah.
which is a music venue, but that's not the same thing. We have the Sandpoint Glassworks, Sandpoint Savories, which is a bakery.
Ooh, that's a good one.
The Curious Goblin, which is a bookshop and reading room.
Oh my gosh.
It's connected to the basement of the other one.
We have the Sandpoint Theater, which is a playhouse, naturally. We also have several markets. We have a fish market, a meat market, a regular market.
Is it named Regular Market? Please let it be named Regular
Default market.
It is not. But just saying, fish market, meat market, market didn't quite make sense.
Market.
And then beyond the town, there are the hinterlands, which are all the different areas outside of town that adventurers may explore, and there are groupings of that is also further broken down. Those ones don't have the rumors aligned with them, but they also have their own specific quests.
Okay.
So of the places in town,
what you thinking, Ryan?
what do you guys want to know about?
I mean, I kind of want to do Fat Man's Feed Bag.
Yeah. Fat Man's Feed Bag.
Okay, so we can agree to do Fat Man's Feed Bag.
I want to see that.
It should be the lamest one, too, is the thing.
It's going to be a rumor that they use trans fats in their burgers.
Oh, boy. I kind of want to... The theater might be a good place, too. Maybe they have a phantom of some kind.
Ooh.
The Phantom of the Opera.
Phantom of the theater. Okay, Fat Man's Feed Bag.
All right, let me get there. All right, the Fat Man's Feed Bag.
Okay.
The rumor associated with this tavern is Gressel Tenowars, certainly the fat man at the feed bag, but he's not the real owner. He's just a front.
Okay.
That's it? That's the whole rumor? I was like, and? Go on.
In a world where it's like restaurants. I love the rumor. Word on the street is this restaurant is owned by bum, 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 a different man. You're like,
someone who's not as fat as him. What?
The tavern is also associated with the Bunyip Club.
Okay, well, what's the Bunyip Club?
Troublemakers in town.
Oh, hooligans.
Do you guys know what a bunyip is?
No.
It is a creature. Let me pull up
it's
its.
just
Is it a bunny and a...
Yep.
What yips?
It is not. I only know what a bunyip is because I drew it for something when I was making...
Oh, yeah. It's like a weird looking kind of narwhal thing.
Oh, okay. That's a cool little gang name.
Yeah.
Or like
It's like a
ruffian name.
It's just funny because it like
They are dangerous aquatic predators
looks
that
more
resemble a cross between a shark and a seal.
yeah.
Shark seal.
A shark seal. Okay.
Okay.
So, Fat Man's Feed Bag, possibly owned by somebody else.
Possibly owned by a
Possibly.
different
Possibly
person.
associated with the Bunyip Club.
We looked at the deed. Yep, different guy. Case closed.
The Bunyips might be. Are the Bunyips using it as a front for their nefarious?
Ooh, okay, that makes more sense.
Who could say, really?
Interesting.
Anyway, okay.
All right, then you said the theater.
Yeah.
The theater could be fun.
All right, well, this is fun. All right, so the Sandpoint Theater. The rumor here is the theater used to be the heart of the old smuggling operation, and there's at least 3 entrances into the old tunnels below the building.
Ooh.
So you might be able to get into some smuggling tunnels from the theater.
Ooh, smuggle some stuff in and out.
That's cool.
Mhm.
Okay. Bunyips might be getting in and out.
Bunyips. Them bunyips.
Okay.
Okay. And then I want to see the cartographer.
No, Tyler. What's those 2 pieces, right? 2 pieces of information.
Oh, what's the other?
No, that one's just one.
Oh, dang it. Well, then yes, give us another one. I feel cheated.
Possibly owned by the same proprietor as Fat Man's Feed Bag.
All right, the way north is the cartographer. The owner, for context, is Vesnut.
Vesnut.
The rumor is Vesnut says his treasure maps are all fakes and that he drew them all himself, but I bet some of them are real.
Ooh. That's cool.
Covering your own fraud, buddy.
I like that.
Interesting.
Nice. Yeah. No, I feel like you can get a good hook in there. Like, okay, let's figure out which ones are real and get the loot.
So the cool thing about this is that each of these comes with like a quest, and some of them are like a page long,
Sure.
Some of them are longer, but it's just really fun how you can kind of jump into different little storylines and just learn all the things about the town. So I told Tyler, I was like, I really kind of want to run this. I know it's PF1, but I'm like, I think for most of these things, they'd be easy to pop over into PF2 for combat if you needed to.
Yeah.
Convertible. Most things are pretty
Unless,
straightforward.
yeah.
Because most of it's investigatory. So
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Wow.
Sam, before we end, do I get to know anything else about what's his name? The Italian family?
the
ones that aren't Italian?
Scarnettis.
Scarnettis.
Can I get any more info about the Scarnettis?
All right,
Do
so
a
one of
society
the
check.
hold on, one of the
wait, hold on.
locations.
Hold on. Give me a D20. If
Oh my
society
gosh.
check is bad, you give me bad information.
Okay.
5.
Wow.
Oh,
Not very good.
That was bad.
Word on the street is like they tried to murder a bunch of people a while ago. They got on a rampage and killed 5.
So the Scarnettis are still around.
Okay.
They own the mill in town, which is a location that you can visit.
Okay. Is it like a flour mill? Like a
Grain mill?
Grain
I think it's grain.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. They own apparently multiple kinds of mills. They also have a lumber mill.
Oh.
Okay.
But
sure.
this one is the flour and grain
Okay.
mill.
Yeah.
So any kind of mill the Scarnettis own.
They've cornered the market on mills.
They're a mill
Apparently.
mogul.
They're a mill family now. Call them the Millers.
Terrible. Anyway,
I'm here all night.
so yes, the grain mill is a place that you can visit, and the rumor is that the miller owes a lot of money to the Scarnettis.
Oh, in some debt.
Yes.
Okay.
You can also visit the Scarnetti Manor. So there's an area south of town where all the rich people live with their manors, because
Sure.
it's kind of like the nicer land, I guess. And there's the manor houses of the different founding families.
This is uptown, downtown, and manor town.
Manor town, side town, rich town.
You can also visit the Scarnetti Manor. So we do have descendants of the original bad guy Scarnetti. So his descendants live here. There is a rumor about one of the descendants that there's something funny with Adamar Scarnetti. I've seen him creeping around once or twice a month, like he's up to no good.
Ooh.
Oh.
I'm sorry, creeping around at night
Ooh.
once or twice a month.
Broad
I feel
daylight.
like that was implied, but I guess it could have been.
Hiding in the bushes, you're like, buddy, it's noon. What are you doing?
We can see you.
Go get lunch.
Ooh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah, and you can go to the other manors too, which is cool.
Oh, people owe them money and their family members rolling around in that.
Well, so the thing to remember about rumors is that not all of them are true.
Yeah.
And so what I appreciate about the campaign setting is that as a GM, you'll read through it and it'll tell you if the rumor is true or not.
Sure.
The players won't find out until they actually do the quest.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just cool to have like, this isn't like, here's a quest, you got to go do a thing, they do a thing. It's like, oh, you're in a town and all of the like there are a bunch of different options and you hear a bunch of different rumors and it's like, which ones seem interesting? Like, yeah, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so that is your kind of overview of Sandpoint. There's lots of fun things to explore, and at some point hopefully we will do the Seven Dooms adventure path, but we have a few other adventure paths to get through first.
Yeah, we'll have to do that sometime. But cool. Well, thank you, Samantha. This was a fun look into a city in Varisia. A cool, I don't know. Now I just kind of want to play there.
Yeah.
I know. That's the problem is like, I feel like you learn more specifics about a place and you're like, well, shoot, I would like to adventure there. Thank you.
Yeah. But it's cool to see kind of like where Paizo started.
Yeah.
And to kind of come full circle, what, like 16 years later? So I think it was like 2008 or something.
It's been a while.
Yeah. So see where we've come so far. So
very cool.
Yeah. We'll definitely be doing some more city guides as we go. But we wanted to do this one since it was tied to a very recent adventure path.
Timely.
And timely and just like very good Paizo history. But cool. Okay. Well, thank you to all our listeners. Remember, you can support us on Patreon, Tabletop Travel Guide Podcast. Also, link in the show notes. You can hit us up on Instagram at Tabletop Travel Guide. Feel free to hit us up on email, tabletoptravelguidepodcast@gmail.com. And yeah, hit up our website, tabletoptravelguide.com. We're currently in the midst of updating it. We have a page for Gen Con, which we will be updating as we get more details on that one. And we're going to be, I think we're going to start adding a page for Cozy Kingmaker if we get back to that. So, yeah. Thanks everybody again. And until next time, safe travels.